Welcome into another victory edition of Browns Live, powered by FirstEnergy. Nathan Zegura alongside Browns legend Joe Thomas. And Joe, the Browns 3-1 after that scintillating victory down in Dallas. You got to be feeling good about what you've seen from this team in the first quarter of the season.
Absolutely. The Browns have gotten better every single week, and last week was their best performance of the season so far, going down to Dallas, rushing for over 300 yards, winning in style, and they've got to be feeling really good going into week 5.
And we're feeling really good because we've got a great show for you here today. Ernest Johnson in the player spotlight. Wyatt Teller mic'd up. Plus, we go in the film room and break down some of the big plays from the win over Dallas. But now let's get to the man who has led your Cleveland Browns to that 3-1 start. Head coach Kevin Stefanski joining us now in our game review presented by Serpentini Chevrolet. And Coach, 3-1 after the first quarter of the season. It's got to feel good. What went right for you down in Dallas?
Turnovers. The defense did a great job. They made sure they were ball searching when tackling. They got their hands on a few balls. That's so important, and we've talked about it really all the way back through the spring about how important that turnover margin is. So the defense is finding a way to get that rock, and then the offense is finding a way to turn that turnover into 7 points.
Coach, we got a question from Reddit user 1121, and he wants to know, Wyatt Teller's early success has been such a pleasant and welcome surprise. What did you and your staff see in him that gave you the confidence to give him that starting right guard position?
Yeah, he earned it, Joe. I mean, he worked really, really hard in this offseason. He came in great shape. He's taken to every technique that Coach Callahan is teaching him. He's still working, and he's a work in progress. I think he understands that. So out there on the practice field, he's very early arrival. He's staying late. He's taking to these techniques, and he has a pretty good understanding of what we're trying to do in our run schemes.
Coach and Wyatt Teller and all those guys up front, the tight ends, the wide receivers, all have made this one of the most successful ground games we've ever seen in Cleveland Browns history. But I want to ask you about that final play call, the reverse, because it seemed to my untrained eye that it was the exact same play as the reverse early in the game. The only difference was Jarvis started where he ended up in motion the first time, started there the second time. What gave you the confidence to call that again? And then what were you thinking on the sideline watching it unfold from, oh no, to oh, yes, Odell?
Yeah, the confidence comes from our players. And when we're talking about plays going into a series, I'm constantly just trying to think about players. And we hadn't really done much with the ball up to that point there late in the game and felt like we needed to get 13 a touch. So we just dressed the formation up a little bit differently than we had done before. But from my vantage point, I was just staring at 58 because on a lot of those special plays, you hope that his eyes are elsewhere and he's getting influenced by other things going on in the formation. And that didn't happen. He came flying up the yard, and Odell, he's been blessed with amazing skill, just ran right around him and around the defense. But at the end of the day, I'm just thinking about the players, and I was thinking about number 13 there.
Yeah, speaking about Odell, he did an interview after last week's game, and he talked about watching the pass floating through the air from Jarvis and how it reminded him of throwing the football back and forth like those guys have done a million times in the past. Can you get a sense, being around Odell, about how much fun that he's having this season?
Yeah, being around Odell, he definitely is somebody that enjoys to work. You should watch him out at practice. He's flying around. It's unbelievable what he's able to do on the practice field day in and day out. So I do think he's having fun. The fun in this business is winning. As you know, Joe, it's one of those things that when you're winning, you're feeling good about yourself, feeling good about your teammates. So it's something that we got to make sure we continue to do.
Coach, when you think about the Washington game, you had that big second quarter, then things got tense in the third, and the team answered the call. In Dallas, great first 3 quarters, things get tense, the team answers the call. And our fans want to know, where does this come from? Dan in Florida, in fact, writes us. He says, I love your steady demeanor, Coach, and the team has really bought into that attitude, showing a lot of maturity, especially in those kind of situations. What coaches influenced you the most in creating this mature team attitude?
Yeah, I think we've been talking about resilience all the way back to the spring and talking about those moments in a season, those moments in a games that things are not always going to go your way. We'd love for them always to be going our way and have a runaway victory, but that's hard to do in the National Football League. So just have been talking about what we do in those moments, how we communicate in those moments, and I think just in general, our players have really taken to that. I think our coaches do an outstanding job of preaching that we're going to find a way. That's our mentality. It doesn't have to be easy. In fact, we don't want it to be easy. We know it's not going to be easy. And segues right into this ball game this week. it's gonna be a battle, and we know what we're getting into.
Coach, and we're going to preview that game when you join us later on in the program. Thanks for being with us. Congratulations on that big win. And a guy who certainly exemplified overcoming that adversity, the resiliency, thrust in the spotlight, D'Ernest Johnson. 13 carries, 95 yards right off of the bench into the game. He was spectacular, and he's in our player spotlight when Browns Live, powered by FirstEnergy, returns.
Bring color to life with the very best paint, only at your Sherwin-Williams store.
You know how these things start. You hear Wendy's is offering free any-size hot coffee with any breakfast sandwich. So you have to tell a friend. They get a fresh brew cup and tell another friend, and so on and so on. So get to Wendy's for free coffee with breakfast.
All right, guys, thank you. Thank you so much. It's always been a dream to lift with friends. Weight going up?
It's important to know your limits in life and when you gamble.
Was that pounds or kilos?
Get more helpful tips like this at keepitfunohio.com.
At Fifth Third Bank, we're working hard to make banking a Fifth Third better. So we always put 166.7% into everything we do.
Technically, you can only give 100%.
Well, technically, we have a state-of-the-art mobile banking app, fee-free ATMs, and great customer service.
I stand corrected. 166.7% is possible.
This is banking, a Fifth Third better.
Get your ice cold Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you may not be able to come to the game this season, our proud partners at Bud Light can always bring a piece of the game to you. Ice cold Bud Light.
I'll take one.
Oh, right here. Bud Light, ice cold Bud Light.
You know how these things start. You hear Wendy's is offering free any-size hot coffee with any breakfast sandwich. So you have to tell a friend. They get a fresh brew cup and tell another friend, and so on and so on. So get to Wendy's for free coffee with breakfast.
Welcome back to Browns Live, powered by FirstEnergy. Nathan Zegura alongside the legend, Joe Thomas. And Joe, D'Ernest Johnson was on a mahi-mahi boat in Florida a few years ago, and boom, thrust into the spotlight when Nick Chubb goes down 13 carries to lead the team with 95 yards. There's something special about this offense, but there's also something special about D'Ernest Johnson.
Absolutely. D'Ernest coming in there and playing the way he did was really special, but it talks a lot about the culture that Kevin Stefanski is building. It's that next man up mentality. We don't care who's in there. The standard is exactly the same. We expect a certain level of execution, and that's exactly what we saw against the Dallas Cowboys last weekend.
Yes, it's about that standard, and according to Pro Football Focus, all three Browns running backs, Johnson, Hunt, and Chubb, in the top 10, not only in yards after contact per carry, but also in elusiveness rating. And while D'Ernest certainly was elusive to the Dallas Cowboys, he wasn't to our Andrew Gribble, who caught up with him in this week's Player Spotlight, presented by Electronic Merchant Systems.
All right, we're joined now by Browns running back D'Ernest Johnson. And D'Ernest, what's it like looking back now a couple days on that performance against the Cowboys and how much you were able to contribute to that big win?
It was definitely a great day, just going out there, having fun, just having the opportunity to go out there and, just play on the big stage like that. Coach Stump prepared us all well for all the running backs well as we was going in there as number one. So, unfortunately Nick got hurt and, my number was called and I had to step up and, try to make as many plays as I can for the team and, just go out there and just try to do what I can for the team and just help seal the win.
What about this system is so good in that it brings out kind of the best in all of you guys, and you guys are able to step up and kind of make an impact that way?
First off, man, the O-line, man. We move as the O-line move, man. The O-line has been doing a great job. You know, the coaches have been putting up great schemes for us to run, and, you know, Coach Stump, man, he just has been doing a great job just preparing us well. You know, he's making sure he stay on top of us, making sure we do the little things right, like, you know, just pressing the hole and making sure we make the right cuts and stuff like that, and just having our eyes open, just reading everything that we need to read. You know, I think that what makes the offense run well with the run game.
And for you, Dearness, your story about going from working on a sea boat to making the NFL, it kind of got on a big stage during Sunday's broadcast. They talked about it during the game. More people are reading about it. What's that been like to have more people realize the journey you've been on here?
And it's a crazy journey, you know, like just, you know, having to sit out 2018, having to work on, you know, the fishing boat, you know that was, you know, I didn't want to do that really, you know, I just had to do that to make money for my son, you know, that was my main goal, just being able to do something to make money and provide for my son, and, you know, just having the opportunity to come in with the Browns and, you know, having coaches like, you know, Stump and Coach Preeve just believing the talent that I had, and when nobody else didn't, you feel me? And that they gave me an opportunity to come in here and just play the game that I love, and just gave me another shot just to go out there and showcase my talents. And, you know, they always believed in me, and I just try to be thankful for the opportunity given.
All right, Dearness, well, thank you for joining us, and good luck this Sunday against the Colts.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You love to hear that from Dearness and Joe. When somebody is playing for their family, that probably gives a little extra something. What was that like for you in your playing days here with the Browns?
Yeah, the second greatest motivation as a football player is playing for your teammates because you love those guys. But the strongest motivation is providing for your family. As an NFL player, to be able to put the bread on the table like Latrell Sprewell used to talk about, that is the most important thing and the strongest motivation that most NFL players usually use.
And I would say the third strongest motivation for the players, the energy from the crowd. And we want to talk about your best fan energy. Our best fan energy this week is Ryan Crowley. Ryan tweeted at the Browns using the hashtag #BestFanEnergy to tell us why he has the best fan energy. And because of that, he will be in the stadium for an upcoming Browns game. Speaking of bringing the energy, Wyatt Teller, he is out there mauling people in the run game, and he's mic'd up. We get to hear about everything he did in that record-setting performance against the Cowboys. Next on Browns Live, powered by FirstEnergy.
Our students don't just read books or write papers. They forge new paths and new ideas. At LECOM, we build medical professionals who excel. We create the foundation of a better world. We seek new ways to aid others. We lead the next generation. We guide the future of medicine. At LECOM, we make doctors.
You know how these things start. You hear Wendy's is offering free any size hot coffee with any breakfast sandwich. So you have to tell a friend. They get a fresh brew cup and tell another friend, and so on and so on. So get to Wendy's for free coffee with breakfast.
For as long as I can remember, I've watched the sunrise, and I've watched the sunset, fueling my drive, feeding the fire within. Embrace it. Harness it.
It's time to let the sun.
I am a fierce competitor. I am a leader on this football team. I am a community contributor. I am Baker Mayfield, and I am a voter.
There is no better time than right now for your actions to matter. Nearly 40% of eligible voters didn't vote in the last election. Get involved. Unite together. Be the solution by becoming a voter.
You know how these things start. You hear Wendy's is offering free any size hot coffee with any breakfast sandwich. So you have to tell a friend. They get a fresh brew cup and tell another friend, and so on and so on. So get to Wendy's for free coffee with breakfast.
Welcome back to Browns Live, powered by FirstEnergy. Nathan Zegura and one of the greatest linemen to ever play the game, Joe Thomas. And Joe, Wyatt Teller so far this year, the #1 graded guard by Pro Football Focus, the #3 overall graded player in the entire NFL. And I'm old enough to remember when we were going into camp, we said, well, who's the right guard going to be? Well, Wyatt Teller said, it is me. He's making the most of his opportunity. What has stood out to you from his play and his development from a year ago?
Well, as an offensive lineman, what stood out for me is just the physical nature with which he plays, the way he wants to dominate his opponent. He is a throwback guard to the days of the 80s and the 90s when it was all about smash mouth football. It was all about beating your opponent, making him submit, finding a way to absolutely destroy him from the first play to the last. That's what you love from your guard play.
Well, he said, Joel and Jack, they're the cerebral ones. I'm the physical one, and he has been dominant. Let's take a listen to what that dominance sounds like in this week's Mic'd Up, brought to you by Ruoff Mortgage.
We're in the right place. We're in the right place. Come get some. What's the point of having a Jumbotron that big? You can't even see it. Is that what you were going for? The look? Dude, my neck hurts. Ooh.
Mayfield turns, gives to Hunt, and he shoulders his way in off the left side. Touchdown, Browns! Kareem Hunt! Beckham to the left. Here's Mayfield. On a reverse, they're going to give it to Beckham. He's rolling to the right and running. He's up to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, 35, 30. There he goes to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown!
Kidding me? Are you kidding me?
For the extra point, Parkey kicks it, and it got blocked. The extra point got blocked, and it's loose on the ground, and the Browns fight for the ball in the end zone, and it's picked up by Stephen Carlson.
Touchdown! Touchdown! That's 2 points. That's 2. Hold on. It's 2, right? Okay. I'm excited. Just trying to help. I'll shut my mouth now. I'm up. I'm shut up now. I just had to say it. I mean, come on. It's just dumb at this point.
Ooh, the sounds of dominance. Music to the old ears. But now let's go in the film room and see that dominance with the X's and O's broken down by Joe Thomas in this week's Play Breakdown, presented by Microsoft Surface. And Joe will start with the very first play of the game, Nick Chubb and that offensive line imposing their will.
Yeah, this play set the tone for the entire game. Over 300 yards rushing for the Cleveland Browns. An unbelievable performance. But let's take a look at the play design by Kevin Stefanski. When we get to the end zone copy, you can see that Kevin starts the tight end and the strength of the formation to the right side of the field. What that does is it puts the defensive lineman in glue, because when he sends Donovan Peoples-Jones across the formation, it's a motion and it's not a shift. What that does is that puts the defensive lineman in glue and gives our offensive line angles. You see the combination block here between Joel Bitonio, the center, J.C. Tretter. It gives them the angle, and it gives them the ability to put their shoulders on a train track, run down the field, knock the interior defensive lineman off the ball and to the sideline, up into the linebacker. That gives Nick Chubb the ability to get his heels up into the line of scrimmage before he has to make a cut. And when you get Nick Chubb going full speed and running down the field with his shoulders toward the goal line, there is no stopping him. But no play is going to go for plus 10 yards without great blocking from a receiver. And if you looked at Donovan Jones in this play, he ran his man down the field and pancaked him like any offensive lineman would be proud of.
Well, no, most certainly Donovan Peoples-Jones said, "Get out the club" to that opposing man on the Dallas Cowboys. You love to see that from the rookie Donovan Peoples-Jones, but what the people really like to see, Joe, it's the razzle-dazzle. Let's take a look at it. Kevin Stefanski dialing it up early.
Yeah, one of the things that I love about this offense is everything kind of looks the same from the start. At the beginning of this play, it looks like just a traditional toss outside zone like the Browns run all the time. But then you throw the reverse in there to Jarvis Landry. All of a sudden, the defense is getting a little bit out of position, so they start to panic, and they run at Jarvis because they're worried about the reverse to Jarvis. But watch what happens with the backside defensive end. He gets put in conflict. He has responsibility for that backside gap off of the tackle's hip. As soon as he sees the reverse, he can't let anybody get outside, so he runs to the sideline. It allows Baker Mayfield to make a crucial block, giving Jarvis Landry just enough time to throw the football down the field. Big touchdown to Odell Beckham. This offense is so perfect because it makes defenses defend every blade of grass. Everything looks the same from the beginning, and then it's only at the end that the play looks a little bit different. And I don't know about you, Nathan, but I love when I'm watching Odell Beckham at the end of plays, standing in the end zone, staring at the defender like, what are you going to do about me now?
And the answer is you're not going to do anything. And by the way, what a rocket from Jarvis Landry there. While the Browns lit up the scoreboard against the Cowboys, this week it is going to be much tougher against the #1 ranked defense of the Indianapolis Colts. But our head coach, Kevin Stefanski, joins us to break down that matchup when Browns Live, powered by FirstEnergy, returns.
Because of this, we built the most powerful Ford Explorer ever with 400 horsepower. Because of this, we built Ford Expedition with best-in-class towing and plenty of room for crew and cargo. Because of this, we built Escape with Ford Copilot 360. And because Ford SUVs are built for this, you made Ford America's best-selling brand.
Get your ice cold Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you may not be able to come to the game this season, our proud partners at Bud Light can always bring a piece of the game to you. Ice cold Bud Light.
I'll take one.
Oh, right here. Bud Light. Ice cold Bud Light.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's always been a dream to lift with friends. Weight going up.
It's important to know your limits in life and when you gamble.
Is that pounds or kilos?
Get more helpful tips like this at keepitfunohio.com.
No matter how early you're up or how late you're running, when you start your day at Speedway, we've got what you need to have a good morning. We've got it hot, we've got it cold, we've got it sprinkled, we've got it ready. We're here to make your morning a little better, because when you get off to a better start, you go on to a better day. The official convenience store of the Cleveland Browns.
Welcome back into Browns Live, powered by FirstEnergy. Nathan Zegura alongside the legend himself, Joe Thomas, one of the best to ever play the game. We welcome back in the head coach of your 3-1 Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski, in this week's game preview presented by Ruoff Mortgage. And coach, the Colts, they have the #1 defense in many, many categories. They've been tough to throw it on. They lead the league in interceptions. They're tough to score on, #1 scoring defense. So our best fan question, powered by FirstEnergy, sets it up for you. From Reddit user Stripeless Zebra 1, he says, "Hey coach, what is it like to game plan for a defense that has been as good as the Colts have been through the first quarter of the season?"
It's a great challenge. I think Monday you turn on the tape and you see what you're getting yourself into. It's a very sound scheme. They don't do a lot, and there's beauty in that. They're coming off the ball. They know where they're supposed to be. They vary their coverages a little bit, but they just trust their players and they let them get off the ball. We have to put together a great plan for this defense because with that, you really have to double down on your own technique, your own fundamentals. So we try to put a plan together that will, attack this defense, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a battle out there.
Yeah, Coach, the Colts lead the NFL in scoring defense, and they're one of only 4 teams to allow fewer than 80 yards rushing per game. For you as a play caller, how do you stay disciplined to the game plan and continue to call those runs, even if they might not be working as well as you want early on in the game?
I think, Joe, you go into it thinking you know how the game's going to go, or you have a pretty good idea, and then you got to be ready to pivot, and you got to be understanding of what the game calls for. And there's got to be a great balance of run and pass in terms of an unpredictability standpoint, I should say. So we don't go into it saying we have to be 50-50 or we have to be 75-25. We don't think of it that way. We think about trying to stay in our offense throughout a 4-quarter game where there's unpredictability to what we're doing. With that being said, we got to get into the game and see how it's going, what's working, what's not working, and that's where the great conversations occur in between series at halftime and try and figure out, all right, what's the best way to attack this defense?
Not only that, you have to worry about how to attack their offense, and their offense led by Phillip Rivers, who's been in the league for almost 2 decades. When you go against somebody who's that kind of a crafty veteran and also that prolific a trash talker, what do you have to do in the week to get ready for a guy like Rivers in this Colts offense?
Yeah, they're doing an outstanding job. Rivers comes into a scheme that was already in place with Coach Reich and Coach Sirianni, but they were with him previously, so there's great familiarity there with the quarterback and the scheme. So you really see vintage Phillip Rivers. I mean, he's doing what he's done in his career and had a ton of success doing in his career. It's very impressive. The run game is varied. There's different schemes. They have multiple guys that can hurt you on the outside. T.Y. Hilton, everybody knows, but then they have this cadre of tight ends that come out and they're able to move them around. So it's a multiple attack, and we got to really be about our business. This is a really big challenge for our defense.
Coach, this is our crucial catch game. I see you wearing the hoodie. I've got the hoodie on. What does that mean to you, and what will you be advocating for this Sunday against the Colts?
Well, it means a lot, and I think all of us have been affected by cancer in some way with relatives and friends, and it's something that I know has touched my family with varying aunts, uncles, so it's something that's very important. We have to make sure that we're raising awareness for this and all the types of cancer that there are, and we just got to make sure that we make a difference.
Coach, thank you so much for the time, and best of luck on Sunday in this great showdown between the 3-1 Cleveland Browns and the 3-1 Indianapolis Colts at FirstEnergy.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach, and thank all of you for joining us on Browns Live, powered by FirstEnergy. But before we sign off, we want to take a moment to recognize a frontline worker who has made a tremendous impact in their community during the pandemic. Each game during the regular season, the Browns will honor this individual prior to kickoff as a part of our Hats Off to Our Heroes program. This week's hero is Nicole Wyatt, a registered nurse who put her life on the line at the beginning of the pandemic. In the early months of this pandemic, Nicole went to New Jersey as a traveling nurse to help those in desperate need. Nicole, from all of us at the Browns, we thank you for your service. For Joe Thomas, I am Nathan Zegura, thanking you, the greatest fans in the NFL, for joining us for another edition of Browns Live, powered by FirstEnergy. And don't forget, Sunday, 11 a.m., Browns Countdown on News 5, getting you ready for this showdown between the 3-1 Browns and the 3-1 Colts. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and let's go Browns.